Yep.
It's good to have friends in high places, people. What's going on, Black Speakers Network family? Super excited to chat with you. We haven't met yet. My name is Brian Oles, president and founder here at Black Speakers Network. I'm joined with Mr. AJ Vassar. We are about to rock and roll. Listen, I know that you are super excited to learn what we have cooking, and obviously, we have a lot of information to share with you. This is going to be fireside chat style, which I'm already warmed up. AJ, I had a Black History Month virtual meeting earlier with the great Crystal Berger and her company EBO. So I'm fresh off the heels of interviewing, hosting that meeting, and looking forward to making sure that we share all the information with you all today. If this is your first Black Speakers Network meeting, welcome. If you are BSN newbie, go ahead and drop newbie in the comments. If you're a BSN OG, go ahead and put OG in the comments just so we could say hello to you. All right. Let's see. And I'm an admin, so I'm letting folks in as we go. All right. So what I want to kind of kick us off with, first of all, if you are not familiar, we're going to be talking about the topic of building your global platform in 2025. I've been saying this all over the place. I believe that 2025 is the year of the creator. It is the year of no longer asking for a seat at the table, but building your own table, putting it in the room that you are going to build the table in, and inviting the people that you want seated at your table. And there are various reasons for that we will absolutely dive into. But if you are here in this meeting, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about taking control of your own future, taking control of your own finances, your own ability to create income, and making sure that you are optimized every tool that you have available in your arsenal to build a healthy speaking business in 2025. Not sure if you all have met AJ, but for those of you who have not, he brings a wealth of wisdom, insight, and expertise from the meeting planning realm. He's worked with corporations such as Wells Fargo, Krispy Kreme, and Walmart, to name a few. And in addition to that, one of the reasons I'm so excited to partner with AJ on this is that he himself has generated well over $100,000 per weekend through his high impact retreats, which is what we're going to be talking about here. And so, if you are thinking about hosting an event, or if you are currently planning an event of any size, any scale in 2025, drop event in the comment. I just would really love to see who is already thinking about creating an event experience somewhere. So that way, AJ, you and I can capture that and really maybe would love to take some questions from some folks as we start to get into this conversation. But AJ, super excited that you're here, man. Always glad to have you in Black Speakers Network, and looking forward to a great conversation. How are you doing today?
First of all, I live in paradise, bruh, so I'm always doing good. I live in Medellín, Colombia, in South America. The temperature stays between 60 and 80 degrees year round. So, man, I never have a reason to complain, my guy.
I know. I'm always we're talk throughout the week, and I'm most of I sit here in Baltimore, right outside of DC. So anybody else in the DMV area who was scraping ice off of their car this morning, or warming it up 15 minutes, or shoveling snow, AJ, you probably forgotten all about that life, I'm
I,
sure.
man, I only know about snow from pictures, bruh. I don't do that no more. That's not my testimony.
It's like, Frost, what is that?
Man,
So I'm gonna go over some questions for AJ, and we're gonna just have a conversation again. If you have specific questions for us, go ahead and drop that in the chat. And when we get to the tail end, probably like the last 15 minutes or so, AJ and I are going to walk through an incredible opportunity um, that we're super excited to share with the Black Speakers Network community, and looking forward to walking through that and seeing how you all can also escape some of this crazy weather that we're having, as well as for those of you who are interested in international speaking opportunities, for those of you that are interested in supercharging your platform in 2025, we are going to have some amazing things to share with you. But before we get into that, AJ, why don't you tell them a little bit about just your background for folks that may not have, again, been introduced to you. And I guess as a part of that background, maybe let us know why you started hosting your own events in the first place. I know right now, especially coming out of the pandemic, I think some people kind of got, they started shying away from live events or potentially, hosting virtual experiences, but you've really mastered the in-person event experiences. And when I say in-person event, I'm talking about some of these smaller, more intimate, less than 100 people type of experiences. So let the people know, like, why did you choose to go down this path?
So before I tell them about that, man, I got to shout you out and I got to tell people how influential you are in my life. I met Brian back in 2020, and we were during the pandemic. He had BSN rolling, and he had a bunch of vendors on the call one day. And Brian says, at the end of the call with all the vendors, he says, "Hey, when this is all over, we got to go down to Colombia and visit Ron." And I was like, "Colombia? I'm in Colombia." So I messaged Ron and I'm like, "Yo, you live in Colombia?" And he's like, "Yeah, I live in Medellín." And I'm like, "Where? I live in Poblado." And he was like, "Bro, I live in Poblado myself." And I'm like, "Bro, I stay in Energy Living." He's like, "You 10 minutes from my house." Crazy part is that's how me and Ron met. Me and Ron grew up 15 miles away from each other and never met each other. And now that's my best friend. The little girl that he had earlier, that's my goddaughter. I was just over his house for the Super Bowl. And man, and now I know Ron don't tell people this. Like Ron owns Speaker Hub right now. Like he purchased Speaker Hub, the largest professional speaker database in the world. And bruh, that connection came because of you. So man, shout out to you. I appreciate you because man, that was right on time.
It's a small world, man. I think that's part of Black Speakers Network. It's like you start thinking about the United States, but how amazing is it to be connected virtually to so many people around the world? I know we have folks here on this call and also folks watching. When we share this across YouTube, literally all around the world, man. And so Black Speakers are taking over, and now's a better time than ever. But yes,
Yeah.
Ron has been an incredible partner. I'm glad that he's here. And I credit Ron too with getting us re-engaged as we have this conversation and look at this partnership. So appreciate you, Ron, and certainly looking forward to moving that forward.
100%. So, how I really got into professional speaking was in 2015. I started working with a company out of Atlanta called Connect, and my job was to recruit event planners and get them to come to these like massive trade shows we did. So I took the job because I felt like that was my way of kind of backdooring my way into relationships with event planners because I knew they hire speakers. So I was like, cool, I'll get paid to build relationships. So I didn't come in like most speakers, like learning from other speakers. I actually learned from event planners. And the event planners, what they taught me was totally different from what I was hearing out in like the speaking world. So I got almost like an inside perspective of what they wanted, what they were looking for, what they didn't like about speakers. And so it really kicked off my career speaking because I had that advantage to talk to them. When I really started thinking about doing events was I went to they used to have this, I forget what they called it. It was like the Millionaire Mind Intensive or something. They used to come through Atlanta and Charlotte and all of them by T. Harv Eker. And they had one company that I guess sold like a real estate portion. So I invested in that and then I got the real estate part. And when I went to one of their seminars, man, it was in downtown Atlanta in the CNN building, in one of these things. And man, the stuff that they was teaching, I was like, this is trash. Like they teach more than this in Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, what are y'all like the stuff that y'all teaching ain't real. And I remember, at break, they try to pull you to the side and ask you, if you're going to do it, move forward. And I was like, I said, no, man, I'm actually not going to do it because, like, what y'all teaching, I don't think it's ethical. Right. I'm like, yo, I said, you're a white man in a room full of black people and you're basically selling them a lie. And Buddy looked me dead in my face and was like, well, if you don't like it, you should create one. Cool.
Challenge accepted.
Hold my beer, bro. Like, that was my thought. Like, perfect. So everything kind of kicked off in 2020 when the world shut down. That was like perfect for me because the whole time before then, I knew I was competing with the T. Harbeckers, the Tony Robbins, the this, the that, whatever name you can think about. I was like, that's my competition. When the world shut down, I was like, the hotels would only allow 15 people max in a room. So I was like, I know Tony Robbins them ain't gonna do events with 15 people or less. So I was like, yo, this is my opportunity. So I started doing events, and Ron actually helped me term the phrase 15 people or less because, like, when I started, nope, I couldn't get more than 15 people in a room. And the crazy part is, like, I started in like the worst city you could probably do it in. I started in Georgetown, Delaware.
Whoa.
Delaware
Whoa.
doesn't have an
Now,
air,
Delaware is one of the smallest states, and I'm sure Georgetown, that sounds like a
bruh,
community.
bruh. It was crazy. But I actually
Did y'all
started.
even have an airport?
No, they had to either fly. We had to fly into Philly or Baltimore, and it was.
That's
But
wild.
I realized it could be done. So the first time that I did, I was nervous. First time I did a sale. You know what I'm saying? I did the whole sales presentation thing, and I was like, yo, I put up the offer, and I think out of the 10, no, it was 12 people there, 10 of them bought it, and that was the first time that I did 100,000 in sales in a weekend, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Like, I think I got something. And then I just started like, all right, cool. Let me work on perfecting this. And then for me, I was like, this is something that other people need to know how to do because I was of the mindset before then that you got to have a room full of hundreds of people to make money and do all of this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do a small one is because the two people that I worked with before then, one of them was Conquer Atlanta and with TD Jakes, and we had 2,000 people in the building, and the dude that put it on lost $75,000. The other one
I'm
was
sorry, lost.
lost, lost, as in, yeah, was in the red, $75,000. The second
That's wild.
second dude had an event in Delaware. So this is how the Delaware connection came in. He had an event in Delaware. He had me come speak at it, and it was like 200 people, and he lost 60,000. And I was like, bruh, I said, you're doing this wrong. Let me show you how to,
Hustling backwards.
you know what I'm saying? I felt like Busta Rhymes. You don't know what you're doing with that thing. Let me show you how to run that right there. Right. So that's how that came about. So once I created the kind of the pathway to do it with small events, I was just like, yo, this is my lane. And I realized that it was a couple things I noticed from small events. Number one, people were more engaged. They felt more connected. They got more out of it, and nobody got lost because it was intimate enough to where it was too small to click up. So although you meet different people, like people didn't form into cliques, and then people felt like, man, I ain't a part of it. So I was like, man, I'm on to something, and that's when
Now I feel like people have a perception that you need to host. I'm glad you took us behind the scenes to some of the economics, right? Because I think sometimes we conflate big event with big profit. And really, I think what's happening is big event equal big invoices, but it don't necessarily equal big profit. Like you're paying out thousands of dollars. I mean, think of all the things you have to take care of up front. By the way, you have to lock in these contracts for hotels, food and beverage, AV costs, ground transportation. You got potentially security. You got on-site teams. You have to bring in technology. You gotta, and you're dealing with potentially all these other issues that you're navigating for hundreds of people. So when you host big conferences, I think sometimes as speakers, we see big stages and you're like, oh, they're making all the money. But really, those big conferences tend to be just marketing events. And then the money comes on the back end. These large conferences, I from the work that I did with them back when I was in corporate, and it's similar to you, just being brought in to, a lot of times strategically partner with these organizations. And I would see the budget. I'm like, man, by the time they pay for all the bills, the invoicing said and done, they lucky to just be in the black. If not, take a small loss, but on the back end, strategically, they're getting the money. And so this small event model is really interesting to me, because I think there's a misconception that the bigger the event, the bigger the money. But the reality is, from what I'm learning from you, it sounds like the smaller you can keep the event and focus, the more profitable it could be. So you talk a little bit about the profitability versus like revenue.
Yeah, so I think people don't understand it. Like when they're trying to do big events, like you said, all of the invoices that come with doing the big events, right? I don't think they realize that, and a lot of times when you're doing a big event, you want a big name, and big names come with big paychecks, right? So, and the one that we did with Conquer Atlanta, TD cost $65,000.
That makes sense.
That's how much it costs to bring him in. And the one that I did in Delaware, they had Trent Shelton come in. Trent Shelton cost $20,000, right? And on top of the 20,000 or the 65,000, they still expect for you to pay for their transportation and get their hotel room and take care of their meals, right? So it's a lot of stuff that people don't think about when you're doing these events. And people, for some reason, think, oh, because I have this name, it's going to draw people. So I started realizing from small events, your name is all you need to draw people. That's it. Your name and your vision for what you want your attendees to have. That's what draws people. And
So did you have any external keynote speakers at your event?
Ron.
Well, he's easy. He's a
people,
big name.
the ones that I do now is the people that live here, the people that, you know what I'm saying, that I rock with.
Oh no, I meant the Delaware event.
Oh no. It
Okay.
was no. I was it. I was it. Like that was, I think it was me. It was me, the guy, the dude that I partnered with, and I don't even know if anybody else spoke. I think it was just us two. Right. But
Yep.
when you're getting started, the cool thing about having it small is it's a lot easier to get 15 people than it is to get 150 people. Right? Some people gonna come, like the first one that you kick off, some people just gonna come because of the relationship. They just want to see you succeed. And all you need to do is get proof of concept. Once you got proof, then you just market the proof. And now everybody that was on the fence, they're like, yo, I'm interested. I like it. Let's see what we can do with this. I want to come to the next one. So then it's just an ongoing thing.
Love it. Love it. Okay. By the way, guys, if you're just joining, welcome. AJ and I are having a conversation, but we are inviting you into it. So again, if you have questions here as we talk about the future of speaking, building a global platform and profit in 2025, please make sure you drop those in the comments, and we will get to as many as we can. Now, don't get to, we're ending at 8, so don't get to 8:58 and drop all your questions then, and then send me emails talking about why we didn't get to you. Like, drop them in now so that we could infuse them into the conversation, because we really are here for you. So talking about 2025. So we know the value of small events. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your background, your experience with that. By the way, I don't know if y'all know Quinn Conyer. She's another BSM member, platform partner here. We were at her live event 2 weeks ago here in Baltimore. The weather was not ideal. It was freezing cold again. And she had about 20 people in the room. Nice venue, rented a space downtown Baltimore. But check this out. The furthest person in the room I met a lady and I think she was from like Ohio, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Somebody came all the way from Ohio to this event in Baltimore. She was not the furthest person in the room. AJ, guess what the furthest person that came for this event came from?
Where?
South Korea. This woman flew from Korea
Wow.
to attend an event in Baltimore, sight unseen. And so that just, to me, it speaks to the environment that we're in. I believe that individuals right now, especially as technology becomes more and more prevalent with AI, and we're getting our hands on more tools to be able to pump out content, the thing that's separating speakers and content creators and individuals that are producing products and services is not going to be, you're not going to get a technical edge for the most part. We all have the same access to all the same tools. But now, being able to create communities of connection, being able to create an environment where people can build authentic relationships and be able to, provide implementation. That's really what I see people are paying for. But from your perspective, why do you believe speakers can't solely rely on traditional booking, or shouldn't rely on traditional booking in 2025?
So with event planners, one thing I learned is that a lot of the speakers that came through, speaking wasn't their main source of income. They were using speaking as a way to get in front of their audience, to either capture their audience or to build a relationship with the CEO. Because if you just paid me $10,000 to speak at your event, then I want to talk to you about maximizing that $10,000 investment, right?
Absolutely.
So speaking was just a way to get them in the door. I think a lot of people have come with the mindset that speaking is my livelihood, and it's like, nah, speaking is almost like your lead magnet. So if you're not using it as a lead magnet, if you're using it as your livelihood, you're going to get ran over by the people that use it as a lead magnet, because they understand how to get in the door, to get on stage, even if sometimes it costs them money, right? So I'll give you a great example, and I'll use me in the thing, but this is a real life example. So
Okay.
um, NSA, National Speakers Association, was had a spot to speak at. Now, let's say I wanted to speak at that spot. Ron was willing to sponsor, which he did. He sponsored an event, and then they gave it to him. So if I was competing for the speaking engagement against Ron, I would have lost, or anybody that was trying to get it, they would have lost last year, because he was willing to, he knew that was his audience. He knew what it took. He was willing to do what it took to get on stage. So you got to think, if a company has the chance to make money from their stage, or have to give you money to be on their stage, which one are they gonna do? Like that's not hard math. So that's why, like, speakers kind of just have to pivot, right? A lot of speakers have tried to monetize their message, which when you first got started with the Zig Ziglars, that was cool. Now you have to monetize your mission, which means you got to monetize every part of helping them. It's not just speaking.
Love it. Yeah, because as a part of Black Speakers Network, of course, we send out speaking opportunity alerts, and we, of course, through platforms like Speaker Hub, we are constantly trying to figure out ways to get in front of more stages. But I think the piece of the consumer education that might be missing a little bit now is this expectation of, where do speakers get paid? Like, where can you expect to get paid? And so 10 years ago, 20 years ago, conferences and seminars. And again, we're not making the case, I don't think, that stages still don't pay, because some stages will still pay, especially commensurate to your experience, or if you're, obviously it takes money to, get you out there and stuff like that. So there are still keynote speaking opportunities, but by and large, the model has shifted quite a bit. And so if a company can sponsor it, if a company can have sponsorship opportunities that is inclusive of speaking, that's where those first slots are going to go. And so we see a lot of organizations now, even moving away from having like a public call for speakers because they're tapping into their internal network, they're tapping into their sponsors. And then if there's anybody left from a content perspective that they really want to get in, then you might get tapped on the shoulder. But for the most part, we really kind of need to shift our perspective on where that money comes from. And if we are getting in front of a stage at a SHRM conference or at a major association or fill in the blank for whatever organization would be kind of considered some of your dream stages, there has to be a strategy on the back end to monetize those opportunities, or it won't really make sense.
So I'll tell y'all something that the event planner told me that really shocked me because I used to call myself a motivational speaker, right? And she was like, I hate that term. She said, I all the event planners hate that term. She said, because when we think of motivational speakers, I'm thinking if I put your name on this event, does it motivate people to come? Because my job is to fill the room also. My boss is gauging my success by how excited everybody was to come to the event that we have. So if I can't put your name as a speaker and people get motivated to come, you're not a motivational speaker. I don't care what your message is. I said, cool, that's noted. And I never use that term again because my name
Yeah,
doesn't motivate people yet.
yeah, I think motivation is free now. Information is free. Google's mission statement was to organize the world's information, and they basically did it. We can find out anything that we want at a moment's notice. And so you can get motivation free at church, you can get information free online, YouTube University. And so really now, what folks are going to pay for needs to be something more. It needs to be insight, it needs to be experience. Can you talk about the importance of creating your own opportunities rather than waiting on it? Because that's kind of what we're getting into now. So it's like, okay, we know that, and by the way, we're not saying don't still pitch at events. We're saying strategically pitch yourself to external events, but what we're saying is that you don't necessarily need to wait on someone putting you on their stage when everybody here has the ability to create their own stage without waiting on anybody. And if you are if your entire strategy is, hey, I need to wait for somebody to put me on stage, then you are really taking your revenue and your ability to produce income and you're putting that into somebody else's hands, which is never a great place to be as an entrepreneur. You want to be able to control your own revenue, control how many leads are coming in, control the conversions and all of that. So that being said, what is your what's the importance of creating your own opportunities rather than waiting on them from your perspective? Like, how's your business?
So I think that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons why me and you connected and Ron connected is because yours was create your own platform, mine was create your own stage, which is the exact same thing, right? And the reason that's important is because of what you said about control. I still go speak at conferences at times, but when I go speak, I have zero control. I have no control over the agenda. I have no control over where they're going to put me to speak. I have no control over anything, which then means I'm not in control over what can happen with the revenue, right? Because some of them say, don't sell, right? That's what most people don't understand. If a company pays you to speak, they don't want you to sell to their audience. Most of the time, they
Facts.
only want you to get their audience information, right? It's like, we paid you to come speak. That's it. Speak and leave, right? So
Yeah.
so when it comes to doing it yourself, you can control everything. I control the flow. I control the room. I control the dates. I control the money. I control the budget. I control everything. And it's only when you've been slated to speak and they run out of time and they tell you, you know what, keep the money. We're not, we just think the schedule didn't go as planned. We're not going to have an opportunity for you to speak, but keep the money. And you're like, I don't want the money. I want to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you start realizing, okay, I need control. I need control of this. And then once you have control and you actually start doing your own, I think now speaking has become like borrowing money from the banks. And this is what I mean. I feel like I get more opportunities to speak now that I don't need to speak and I don't need to make money speaking than I did when I needed, because I'm doing it
Facts.
myself. I don't like, now people are like, yo, do you want to come speak? And it's like, cool, maybe, but when I was needing it and when I was like searching for it and hungry for it, it seemed like I couldn't find any. So I think, like I said, I look at speaking like banks. The more you don't need the opportunities to speak, the more they call you up to speak.
I think that's one of the biggest frustrations with like traditional speakers bureaus, because a lot of people think, man, I can just join a speakers bureau and that'll pack my calendar out. But the reality is that, by the time you get to a place where everybody wants you, you don't need an agent, you don't need a speakers bureau. Like you've already kind of built it up. Like nobody's begging. Kendrick Lamar isn't out like begging people to try to come like perform. He's selling out stadiums, but it wasn't doing that 10 years ago. Like he's trying to,
Yeah.
get with a label and stuff like
I mean,
that.
we talk about that all the time. When people talk about needing a speaker agent, I'm like, how many people asked you to speak yesterday? And they're like, zero. I'm like, well, you probably don't need an agent, because your agent is the one that sifts through the opportunities to see which one matches you, which one goes with what you're trying to achieve this year and fits into your schedule. But if nobody emailed you to come speak yesterday, like the agent ain't gonna help you that much.
Yeah, that's good repositioning, because I think again, this is all I know. We have people that are watching on live now. Some of you have, just started your speaker journey. Some of you are started a while ago and maybe transitioning back in and trying to understand the market. And so that's the reason why I really wanted to have this conversation with AJ, so that we can, I think it's just important that we understand what normal looks like, what's happening in the marketplace, so that you can get a realistic expectation of how you are presenting yourself and what to expect. Because this is not it's not 2002, it's not even 2012 anymore. Things are changing very quickly, and we want to make sure that everyone in our communities understands what needs to take place. AJ, from your perspective, what do you think is some of the, or maybe just if you can boil it down to the top, like the biggest mistake that you see speakers making when it comes to, trying to monetize that message?
I think they're waiting for somebody to tell them it's okay to monetize their message. I think that's the biggest thing. They're waiting for somebody to say, your message is valid. Come bring it on my stage and share it.
Mm.
They're waiting for validation. And a lot of times it's you got to create your own stage and validate yourself. So I think I'm looking at one of the questions. Marcus said, what did I mean by proof of concept? Um, so what I mean is, and this is what I mean by validation. The first time you do an event, you're gonna have people on the outside looking in that's like, I want to come, but I don't know if he's gonna pull it off. Right. So you don't have any pictures, you don't have anything, you don't have any marketing material, all you have is a dream. You have to paint the picture of what the event is going to be like. You got to take pictures in an empty hotel room. You got to sell the vision. But then once you got people in there and they're enjoying it, and then you got them doing testimonials, then you have proof of concept. So that's what I meant by that. So a lot of times you got to validate yourself. And that's why I love to create your own stage, because when I create my own stage, I can validate myself by the people that show up. And like I said in the beginning, is half the people might just be people that support you, right? You may get a couple people that's like, you know what, I'm gonna take a shot. I like your message. I like what you've been talking about, so I'm gonna test it out. But a lot of those people are going to be people that's like, hey man, we want to see you succeed. We believe in you. And I think another thing with speakers is they want the whole crowd to be full of strangers. Like that's not how I start. The whole crowd ain't full of strangers when you start. The whole crowd is full of supporters, and then your supporters, it just gets bigger and bigger until you do look in a room and you're like, man, I really don't know a lot of these people, or I don't know half of them. But it starts small. Yep. So that's why I love the saying, despise not small beginnings. That's my
Mhm.
despise not small beginnings.
And then I think I missed another question here. Let me make sure I go back and grab it. Someone asked, how do you drop your offer to your audience to get them to convert? I'm assuming that's in like a live event format. And then do you use tech in your intimate conversations?
So this is the
So
part. So I'll go over the tech. I'm gonna do the tech part because that's the last thing you said. So you might have to remind me of the other question. I have a
cool.
friend down here who is she's the first woman to ever win the Summer and Winter Olympics. Her name is Lauren Williams. She does things big. Like all of her stuff is like she just decorates. She's a decorator. When she came to my event, she was like, "Yo, you basically pulled this off with a whiteboard." And literally, I mean, you can ask Ron. Ron has been to all of my events I've had down here. I have a whiteboard because pe- people want to become more than anything. Like they're coming to become who they know they are. So I don't need tech for that, right? I don't need the glitz and the glamour. I need at the end of the event for them to know that they can do it. So when they jump back on that plane going back to the US, their lives has changed because they know they can do it. So you don't need all that.
Keep it
Uh,
simple. Keep it simple.
keep it very simple. What was our other question?
How do you drop your offer to your audience to get them to convert?
So everything needs to lead up to your offer. First of all, I would say this: you need to know your client's journey. If you don't know your client's journey, your offer doesn't matter because your offer should just be the next step in their journey. That's it. So everything you're doing when you're planning it, as you're planning all of these events, everything happens in a succinct way. Like there are reasons that you have things happen at certain time periods because you know I'm going to give you the opportunity to take the next step and to continue the journey with me if you so choose. Right. So I like to use the term educate and elevate. I'm gonna educate you and then I'm gonna give you a chance to elevate, and that's on you. And I feel no pressure, and people don't ever feel pressured by me because I literally put it out there. Like I'm gonna educate you, and then you decide if you elevate. And not all people want to elevate. Everybody don't want to be an eagle, and that's cool. But the eagle soar. You like how I put
Man,
that in there? You like that?
yeah, I was about to say, hey, I'm gonna have like a little book of AJ-isms, Ron, and then I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna just put it together and drop it on KDP, and then just give you the royalties. You be having a few of them. All right, so we asked you earlier to let us know if you're hosting a live event, and so Takhia says she's hosting a live event. Marcus, Jessica Holley is planning to host an event 2025. Jennifer, Mia is hosting events. So we got quite a number of folks. If you didn't get a chance, put event in the comments if you're planning to host an event, even if you're thinking about it in 2025, just so we could get a sense of who we have in the room. Ron, did you have a question or something you want to jump in on, or you just hanging out?
Well, I've been to AJ's events over the last 3 years here in Medellin, and one of the biggest things that I realized is that if you try to do something at a hotel, the hotels lost to Airbnb, so the conferences became their profit center, right? Because they knew you can't host a conference with 200 people in an Airbnb, right? So they lost their main customers used to be the regular hotel renters, but then it became the conferences. And then the conferences had to find another profit center, which became the speaker fees. Meaning they're like, well, look, we got to sell the stages now that we got to pay $19 per cup of coffee at this hotel. And by when I was at AJ's events, it made a lot of sense because he had the core people that already believed in what he was doing, but they just needed a little bit more attention to get to the next level. So he didn't need 500 people in there. He had 20 people. But those 20 people were his biggest supporters and they needed the next thing. So with them being in the States, it gave them an excuse to travel. That's the first thing people are looking for. They're looking for a reason to get away from their family for a weekend, right? But when they show up, if they can get these dope photos, they can get these dope events. Because if Brian held an event in Baltimore and he did it at a huge, nice mansion, all y'all gonna take photos. It's like Y'all gonna want the photo shoots. Y'all gonna want all of the stuff that comes along with it. And I think we kind of underestimate the um, the value of having your I call them my deacons and my elders. You underestimate having your deacons and your elders there to support you. You wanna you have something that they aspire to get also, right? So I love just small events. I watched them, you know, he didn't have to pre-sell anybody. They had already bought in. Like you go to places and they have the long pitch that's 30 minutes and you got to warm them up because the room full of a bunch of people who really didn't know and it kind of feel like a network marketing room. No, these folks already knew what they were coming to, right? They just wanted a little bit more. And then AJ offers something to continue that event or to continue the offer. They just buy it. I thought that was super duper cool.
Yeah, man. AJ, you set the blueprint, man. You set the blueprint.
I had to learn. I had to learn, but now that I learned it, I'm like, yo, why not all do it? We should all do it. I think every speaker should be doing this because it's 15 people. It's 15 people.
If you think you can get 15 people in a room, drop yes in the comments. I'm just curious. While you do that, I'm gonna share, and thank you for sharing, Ron. I'm gonna jump into the slide deck because we just want to share with you a little bit about what we got planned for y'all. So we already mentioned the fact that we believe that 2025 is the year of the creator. We believe that there's an opportunity to just take control of your own destiny. Like nobody likes feeling like, in my opinion, if we once you build this foundation, by the way, I don't know if I think we talked about this a little bit, AJ, but a few years ago, National Speakers Association, NSA, they attempted to change their name to Platform. It didn't work because there were too many people that were like, no, this is NSA, but their thinking was correct. The term platform is really what we all are building. You have to create a foundation of your ability to connect to your audience, connect to your audience that you're called to serve through your collection of content and materials. So a live event is something that you can decide, I'm going to host one event a year. I'm going to host 2 per year. I'm going to host 1 per quarter. I'm going to do 1 per month. Maybe I'm going to do virtual events in between. Maybe I'm going to do lunch and learns. Maybe I'm going to do VIP days. Maybe I'm going to do retreats. But these are all programming that you control. Same thing with creating your podcast. I know, AJ, you've done that. Ron has done that. I've done that. So these are things that you don't have to go externally to create. You're creating a platform where you can direct to consumer, go to the people that you're called to serve. And then on top of that, what are you doing? Now, when you get a speaker opportunity alert from Black Speakers Network, when you get on Speaker Hub, you find an opportunity, when you get inbound leads, those all are adding to what you already have. And so, AJ, one of the things I love is that you are literally giving us a piece of the playbook that if you choose to take advantage of this very, very powerful, I always kind of think of, how like a Hawkeye from Avengers has all these arrows and each of the arrows do something different. You pull it out, one of them explode, the other one kind of turns into putty or whatever. Like I feel like as speakers, we all kind of have these different arrows that we can pull out for different situations, and live events are an incredible arrow to pull out if you are, I see some people are here, trying to figure out their speaker brand, trying to figure out how to get things started. There's nothing that's going to jumpstart your speaking career like having a big win under your belt, an infusion of cash, and an opportunity to directly serve the audience that you have. And so with that, I think the best way to learn something is to teach it and to demonstrate it. And so because of all of that, AJ and I want to invite you all to our very first platform and profit building, building the modern speakers playbook. We are planning to host a 4-day international retreat with you all, the BSN community. We're bringing it to AJ's doorstep down in Medellín, Colombia, down with Ron. Now, this will be a Q2, Q3 event. The date is TBD. We're opening up a wait list tonight. So this isn't even something you could purchase tonight. We're just going to walk through, kind of give you the information, the details. We'll drop a link in the chat so that you can add to the wait list, because there is a little bit of a qualification process, but we really just want to make sure that we got the right people in the room. So AJ, super excited about this, man.
Yes,
so yeah,
sir.
ready to walk folks through?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So first of all, we're only looking for 15 people. As we kind of mentioned, this isn't an arbitrary number. AJ kind of got to get through the story and shared how we got there, but this isn't going to be 30, 40, 50 people in the room. The individuals that are going to be taking place in this cohort, particularly the first one, this is going to be individuals that we're going to be working with for not only this experience, but over the next 90 days. So we really want to Ron's point, make sure that we're getting you outside of your environment, an opportunity to travel. And first of all, there's nothing like a vacation that you could write off. I'm not a tax lawyer, talk to your tax attorney, but there's nothing better than combining business and some personal travel with a country that you may not have visited. So if you have interest in getting some stamps on your passport, getting an immersive cultural experience while you're also building your speaker business, then this may be a great opportunity for you. Now, Medellín, Colombia is located in, of course, South America, and it is only a 3-hour flight from Miami. It is a beautiful, gorgeous country. The weather is basically perfect, from what I understand from AJ, from his pictures and videos throughout the year, all year long. So it really doesn't matter when we do this particular retreat, but it's always going to be pretty much good to go. Now, I know there is somewhat of a rainy season, right, AJ? But even within that, it's kind of like one of those Florida things where it may rain for a few minutes and then it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
Yep. So why Medellín? One, as we mentioned, AJ and Ron are already there. So we got teams on the ground ready to host you. We already have the infrastructure. We have the relationships, but it is a beautiful country. It is not only a safe country, but literally has been voted one of the safest, coolest neighborhoods by CNN Travel just a few years ago. And now this neighborhood, is it Laureles?
Laureles.
Laureles. Yes, I'm gonna work on my Spanish. Now, this was actually voted. This was the number one voted neighborhood out of all the ones on this particular survey. It's above Denmark, Hong Kong, Madrid, Dublin. So I thought that was pretty cool. But Colombia is an incredible place to visit, even if we weren't doing business, but literally one of the safest. Uber, a lot of the conveniences that we're used to here, you will have access to there as well. So this is going to be perfect for you if you are a person who is, of course, ready to build multiple revenue streams. If you are looking to, if you have found yourself struggling a little bit in 2025 to put together a comprehensive speaker strategy. And of course, the core 15 folks that are going to be in the room, myself and AJ included, and any other special guests that we have included, these are going to be valuable strategic connections that will last you probably a lifetime. I know one of the things that AJ and I are really interested in is making sure that the individuals that are going to take part in this experiences are actively working on creating their own event experience in the next 12 months. And so for the individuals, just like we have folks on this call who are building their own events, there's no reason why we can't partner, collaborate, and help each other make sure that we hit those goals as we move forward. I put some of the value here just so you can kind of see what some of these things would be if you were to do it on your own. But we're talking about a 4-day, 3-night premium experience. We already have an incredible hotel partner that we work with that has an incredible rooftop where we would be taking photos. We'll be having networking and dinner opportunities there. We already have your airport transportation from the airport to the hotel already covered. And so basically, all you got to do is get yourself on a plane. And we're looking forward to receive you. Now, you will have to cover your airport airfare from the hotel because different people will be leaving at different times. But when you come in, we'll make sure we have somebody to meet you there, bring you directly to the event, and get you ready, get you settled in. Your event experience will also include, we're going to be taking a guided cultural excursion tour across Medellín, get an opportunity to really get immersed into the community. And so I think that's important. Anytime that we are, for two reasons. One, anytime that you are as a speaker bringing in, even if it's 15 or 20 people, you are actively adding to that local economy. And so they're looking forward to hosting us. They're ready to have Black Speakers Network. But we also want you to start thinking about what your live event experience could be like too. What are some of those elements? What are some of those additional things that you can add into your event that will make it stand out and create an incredible event experience for all of your attendees. We're also including most of your meals, daily breakfast, lunch, and dinners that we've mentioned. Some additional qualifier events may be included as well on the last day. But again, get yourself on a plane and we will absolutely make sure you're taken care of. Each of the 15 speakers that are going to participate in this event will have an opportunity to speak at this event. And so if you have not yet added international speaker to your moniker, this will be a place to do it. We're also bringing in a professional videographer, so you'll leave with quality footage that you can repurpose across multiple platforms. And of course, we will be doing headshots as well. And again, all of these things are included for those that are going to be joining us.
So hold on a second about I want to say something about the international speaker part.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now this is another trick an event planner taught me. She was like, "Yo, as soon as you can, get international speaker under your belt." She said it's a couple reasons. Number one, when you say you're an international speaker, people stop asking you if you speak for free. That's the first thing. They automatically assume that you charge because you have international speaker. Number two, when you do talk to an event planner and you tell them you're an international speaker, a lot of times it starts the conversation because they say, "Where did you speak?" So it's a great way to kick off a conversation about where you spoke at internationally, what you did, because event planners like to travel too. That's part of the reason they got into the game. So if you've spoken to somewhere they haven't been and you can tell them the upside of it, what the hotels were like, right? Event planners have this thing that they do where a lot of the cities will bring them in for free to check out their city to see if they can bring one of their events. So if you tell an event planner how great the city was, how accommodating the hotel was, how all that was for you, you can actually help them with deciding where they're going to source one of their events. Then it makes you valuable to them. So
I love that. That's exactly what we want. So this would be not just, hey, I'm checking the box, but now you're actually elevating your profile, your visibility, which is exactly what it is. If I'm attending this event for the first time, I'm sending a press release straight up. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be speaking down here, and then another one when I got home. Guess what? I just spoke. So maximize all opportunities. Maximize all opportunities. Now, what we're going to be getting into when we get here. So first of all, anybody that's joining us for this first cohort, there is going to be a slide where there's going to be some special bonuses specifically for the folks that are joining us on this first one. But pre-event strategy sessions. So for the folks that are going to be joining us, the weeks leading up to the event, myself and AJ will be not only hosting some sessions to help get you ready for mindset and specific strategies, but we also want to make sure that the folks in the room have an opportunity to build relationship with each other before you even get there. And so we're going to be beginning that process and pre-work before we even get on the ground. Of course, we'll be providing you with materials, guides. The goal coming out of this event, again, is a 90-day sprint towards getting your event completed and making sure that you are moving forward with your speaker roadmap for success. And then, of course, a wraparound community within Black Speakers Network that is very much focused on live event success. By the way, just as a large note for anybody, whether you take advantage of this experience or not, anybody that's in Black Speakers Network, we're very much moving to having some of these small group formats and coaching communities, competency communities, because one of the things we realize, AJ, is that it's kind of like church. You know, most people will go to church on Sunday and then, you know, get fed and get all the information that they need. But throughout the week, there's ministries and things taking place, Bible studies and things that people would need to really feed them more individually, and also have a place where they can give their individual skills to be service to others as well. And I think the same is true with BSN and also just in the speaking world in general. We know people are working on multiple different things. Some people are working on hosting a live event. Some people are trying to build their own coaching community. Some people are building their own membership. And so it's important to be in community, not just with other speakers, but with other speakers who are actively and have actively created the type of platform that you're trying to create. And so this is the beginning of, and this is the last slide. So total package value of all the things we mentioned, the travel, the meals, hotels, photography, videography, cultural experiences, and all the materials that you receive, the community and everything, easily would be well over $12,000. Your investment, which again, you cannot buy tonight, but this initial investment would be $29.99. Super cheap vacation for 4 days, 3 nights. And in addition to that, this is going to be the lowest that this particular cohort will ever be. Any future cohorts will easily be above that 3. I just try to work with AJ to see if we could get that price point under 3 for this initial one, but future cohorts will it's already on here. Yep. So future cohorts are going to be $34.99. So super transparent. Just want to make sure y'all know that. But what we will want you to do tonight, for anyone interested or anybody watching this replay, within the next 7 days, make sure that you go and click on this link. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat in a moment. That you'll have the access to all of these slides. So if anybody asks for the slides, you have all the slides, and this apply now button, you'll be able to click and it should take you. Yep. Perfect. It takes you right to the BSN interest list. And then you could fill out this form. Literally takes, I don't know, AJ, what, like 30 seconds. Yep. And you'll be able to we will look at your application, make sure you're good, and then if there's any follow-up to do, we will do that. And then only the people who actually fill out the waitlist interest form will actually get a invitation for when this when these dates open up. So if you guys have any questions, AJ and I will stick around for a moment. Oh yes, and there'll be a down payment, I think, right, AJ, is what we're going to be doing.
So,
okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people, we know you don't have, you may not want to put 3,000 down right now. So there's a $500 down payment, non-refundable. Let's go ahead and put that out there, because once you commit, we want you to commit. But yeah,
Yeah.
a $500 non-refundable down payment. However, I will say this: if because of what we're doing, because I know this is a question that comes up. I had a person before who actually put down a down payment, and the week he was coming down, his grandmother passed away. So if something like that was to happen, then you can automatically come to the next one, and we will respect this pricing. So, you know, if something catastrophic like that happens, we'll respect it. And if you can't make it, you do have the opportunity. We will have the list of everybody that wanted to go. So we will give you access to them to see if you can sell your retreat package if for some reason you didn't want to do it. But and that typically goes quick because we only offer 15 slots.
Yeah. Ron, if you want to come back up, I know you want to share a little bit about your experience, and then we'll take any other questions. And then, guys, we are done. I am super. First of all, I'm excited just to get back down. Not back. This will be my first time going to Colombia. I've been wanting to get down there for the last year and a half. Didn't make it through the pandemic. Yes, Marcus, we will release the dates, and so basically the way the information will flow, anything pertaining to this event will go to the people who are on the interest list. So if you want to know dates, if you want to know about new bonuses being added, you want to know the speaker information, make sure you're on the interest list. Outside the interest list, we're not going to be, sharing this moving forward. So definitely make sure that you're on there. But I will tell you, we are shooting for a Q2 or early Q3. People are calling me. It must be 8:00. Yep. All right. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. So Ron, did you
Yeah, I want to kind of tell you about my first impression. So after the pandemic, it was an event that AJ did. His first one was right after the pandemic. And you know how your friends, they do stuff like, yeah, I got this event. And I'm like, yeah, all right. He's like, man, you should come through. I think you'll like it. I come through and I'm like, holy smokes. Like, what the heck is this? Like, I totally underestimated it. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just stop by there. I go by there, they got it all set up. It's dope. But then they did these cultural events that they talked about. And it wasn't the typical conference where you're in class every day. They went jet skiing. He had a lesson that you learned from jet skiing, right? They did some other community tour. He had a story as to how that pertained to what the theme of the conference was. So it's a lot of immersion learning versus sitting in a classroom, being lectured, getting set up for a pitch. That's not what this is. It's really, you get to experience the culture while you're there for those 3 or 4 days, but he has thought through how to teach you a lesson while you're going through the experiential things. I thought that was incredible because I hate sitting in a lecture hall all day, especially if I didn't pay to go on vacation. I still want to feel like I'm on vacation in some ways. So that was a really cool thing, I thought, because I underestimated how how good a small event could be. And I'm telling you, I thought it was going to be trash. Then I got there and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Because your friends be doing half in it sometimes. You ain't never,
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes they don't do it the whole way. No, this was the whole way. And I was super, super duper impressed. So I've been to every one that he's done here, and I've seen the reactions and the feedback from people. It's top of the line, and I wish he would do more of them. But that's another thing. I'm always pushing him. You should do this every month. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I do appreciate that too. I think sometimes and by the way, I'm an introvert. So y'all know, like, as AJ and I were going through the schedule, by the way, we got some great things planned. But I'm not the type of person like, some of these events that start at 6 a.m. and you're going to like midnight and you're, I'm like, I'm on banker's hours. And also I'm in my room at the end of the day trying to like recharge. So this isn't one of those like packed in, you're in an air conditioned room all day. So I really appreciate that, AJ. If you're just thinking about this, if you know that you're going to fill out the interest list, maybe just put me in the comments. I'm just curious of how many people might be seriously consider this, whether it's Q2, Q3, Q4. Like at some point you will want to join us for one of these international retreats. People say, oh, I already filled it out. That was okay. Okay, Jennifer.
I want to go back to Ron's point about why I do it the way I do with the learning experiences. My mother is into taxes. She's been doing taxes for over 40 years. She actually looked at my whole programming and was like, this doesn't meet IRS standards of writing it off. And I was like, she said, because everywhere you do, like, I think it's like 70% of the time it has to be something related to them getting better in business. So like every part of it has something to do with getting better in business, some type of way to help you. So I gotta give my mama credit for that one because she looked at my first one and was like, you can't do this. Like they can't write it. Like they can write it off, but if they get audited, they're gonna look at your itinerary and realize this isn't a trip that could be wrote off. So um yeah, now it's write offable, if that's a word.
I seen people get in trouble with that too because they're like, we're going to Tulum for 4 days, and we had one little meeting for like 30 minutes, and they're trying to like you could again, you can do what you want, but at your own risk.
At your own
At your
risk.
own risk.
Yeah. So, and that's one thing that I mean, me and Brian working together is great because like he is so detailed and getting like all the details. I am very big picture. So one of the things that he's made sure is that when you all come, you will get the itinerary and you will get everything you need for your tax purposes. So it's yeah.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
is
That's my thing. Yeah, give me a spreadsheet and watch me work. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, we are done. I don't see any other questions. Jennifer says she filled out the interest form. Isha, oh, cool. Phoenix, Arizona in the building. Okay, she's coming. Trying to catch my mouse is not working. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to do. Okay, Marcus. Cool. Okay, great. All right, guys. Well, if you have any other questions, myself and AJ and Ron, we're all in the Black Speakers Network Premium member group in Facebook. Drop us a line there. You can always email us as well. But we're probably going to do a part 2 of this in the next few weeks, just to kind of make sure that if folks have additional questions or as we continue to talk about building this platform. But guys, now's the time to take action. Thank you so much for joining us. Certainly looking forward to hanging out with many of you this year as we continue to dominate these stages. And again, build our own table and not wait for anybody else. Ron, I want to thank you for sparking off this next iteration of a partnership that we have. And AJ, certainly appreciate you, man. So let's rock and roll. And as we say in Black Speakers Network, keep speaking up because your audience awaits, and we're going to see y'all on stage in Medellín. Have a great night.